The Nationals got a big win against the Los Angeles Dodgers yesterday, but even more importantly, one of the Nationals' top pitching prospects, Mitchell Parker, came in and had an awesome debut and the best debut since this Nationals legend.
You are Locked On Nationals, your daily Washington Nationals podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you all for making Locked On Nationals your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcast. And of course, I'm your host, Ryan Clary. You can catch me over on Twitter at RyanClary11 and as well as the show page at LO_Nationals. For all your latest Nationals news and notes, make sure to check us out over on Twitter. And of course, later on in today's show, we'll be previewing Game 2 of this Dodgers series as the Nationals took Game 1 last night on the heels of a Mitchell Parker debut in which he balled out in. So we'll discuss Game 2 as Patrick Corbin takes the bump against them later on. Luis Garcia has been off to a flaming hot start in this season. And of course, he's kind of been the guy on the hot seat. Some people even thought he could have been traded before this year. Some people thought he could have even been DFA'd. Ultimately, he has not been either of those. And of course, now he's actually starting to look the part as he made some pretty nice defensive web gems in that contest yesterday. And of course, he's been hitting the ball pretty damn well as well. So we'll discuss him and his performance later on in this season and kind of what to get into. What is the future for second baseman Luis Garcia? There's a lot to discuss. We'll have that for you in the second segment of today's show. But of course, let's talk about Mitchell Parker, as yesterday against the Los Angeles Dodgers went 5 innings and was relatively shut down. Not a lot of people expected that. I certainly did not. But of course, we'll get to that after we tell you guys about today's sponsor for the show, which is Monopoly Go. Today's episode is brought to you by Monopoly Go. I admit it, I have a competitive side and is a big fan of Monopoly Go, the mobile hit twist on classic Monopoly. So join your friends and download Monopoly Go, now free on the App Store or the Google Play Store. Again, that is Monopoly Go. So let's kind of get into last night's game because, again, late night Nats, I personally hate it. I hate the game starting at 10:10. I think it's awful. I think it's just, if you're trying to get to bed early, that'll never happen. But of course, there was something to watch for last night. That was Mitchell Parker, 5th-round pick back in 2020 out of JUCO, born in Albuquerque, New Mexico, which you don't really see all too many major league players from New Mexico. So that's kind of intriguing in itself. But going into yesterday's game, you have Mookie Betts leading off, followed by Shohei Ohtani. Then you have Freddie Freeman. All 3 MVPs, and this is what Nationals Communications put out in last night's game. Per Elias Sports, when Mitchell Parker makes his debut tonight, he'll become the second pitcher in Major League history to face 3 former MVPs as the first 3 hitters of his career. And that first at-bat against Mookie Betts, one of the best hitters in all of baseball right now, struck him out. That right then and there was kind of like whoa, this guy could be something here. So, of course, when you face those top 3 guys, and you're going up against Mookie Betts, when you go up against Shohei Ohtani, the reigning MVP, when you go up against Freddie Freeman, someone who has killed this Nationals team over and over and over again, those 3 guys combined for 2 of 7 with 3 strikeouts, 2 for Mookie Betts and 1 for Shohei Ohtani. You strike out Shohei Ohtani, the guy who just got paid $700 million this last year. Right now, Mitchell Parker is probably making just a couple $100,000. Put that into perspective real quick. You were asked to start your major league career as a 24-year-old 5th-round pick back in 2020 out of JUCO. Someone who, by the way, led the organization in strikeouts last year down in the minors. Yeah, he's a pretty good guy, but it's not really something that you expect. You don't really expect the Nationals to be like, you know what? We're going to give you the ball against this loaded Dodgers lineup. That doesn't really happen. So the expectations were obviously pretty low. When you're facing all those guys, it's just not really something that you would expect for Mitchell Parker, this left-handed southpaw, who could come in the game and relatively do pretty well. So now we kind of get ahead of ourselves. That's kind of what it is. He had the nice little changeup, or he had the nice curveball. He had the fastball. And again, he threw a fastball 44 times. He threw his curveball 32 times and threw 5 splitters as well. That was a pretty impressive pitch mix. But one thing that we can kind of take away from this is that you can't really just go out there with 2 pitches. and have the success out on a constant basis. You're not really a bullpen piece. You don't really have to have that deep arsenal that a Josiah Gray has. You've seen hasn't really worked all too well for him over the years. But still with Mitchell Parker, one thing is going to stand clear. You're going to have to figure out some way to get that third pitch in there, whether it's a changeup, whether it is a slider, whatever it could be. You're going to need to find ways to kind of maneuver that way. Because, again, his debut yesterday was wildly impressive. This is something that we're going to be talking about for quite some time. You would expect for him to make another start up in the big leagues. As Davey Martinez was wildly impressed. I imagine Mike Rizzo was also impressed. Again, you went into Dodger Stadium against one of the more talented teams over the last decade. And again, those top three guys, Shohei Ohtani, Mookie Betts, and of course, Freddie Freeman. 2 for 7. Not all that much damage. And again, if you look at the exit velos, yeah, they did have some hard contact rates off them. But at the end of the day, you're getting those top three guys out. That is something. And of course, it's not even just beyond that. CJ Abrams, in yesterday's game, another home run. All this guy has done so far this season, as we call him Siege on this podcast, all this guy has done so far this season has taken that next step. His now is an OPS over 1,000. He's batting around 300. He's putting the ball in play. His exit velocities are up. His hard hit rate is up. His barrel percentage is up. Every metric that you look at with CJ Abrams is up. I saw Andrew Golden point this out the other day, and I thought it was really true. Something that is we kind of gloss over with CJ Abrams is when he's thrown over to first base now, look at the confidence that he has. He's not just kind of lollygagging the ball over there. This guy is whizzing it over, and I think that kind of goes to show you the confidence boost that he has taken in 2024. And you could see it at the plate. His approach is completely different. First pitch of the game yesterday against Tyler Glasnow, who's been relatively unhittable. First pitch, takes one to right center field, and Gap has a double right there, first pitch. And this is, again, not all someone who is not a good pitcher. This is Tyler Glasnow, someone who was 6'8", someone who has a 2-something ERA at that point. The Nationals came in there. They had a plan, and they approached that plan in a real good way. And then Luis Garcia later on kind of puts it over the top, the 3-run home run. This was a well-rounded team win. And again, you're going to see a lot more of these as the season kind of goes on here. Looking a little further into Mitchell Parker's start from yesterday's contest, this is kind of one thing that I saw. I think that this guy, as we kind of sit here today, I don't think he's going to be a starting pitcher. I don't think that that's the Nationals' plan for him down the line. Now, you could have said the same thing last year about Jake Irvin, and now there's some people within the organization that may think that this guy could be a middle rotation guy, maybe even a top end of everything, just kind of the stars align and all those different things. But with Mitchell Parker, as we kind of sit here, having these 2 pitches in which we saw a heavy usage of his curveball yesterday, I even kind of joked, like, is this going to be Clayton Kershaw out there? Is this Clayton Kershaw who put on the Nationals uniform because his big 12-6 curveball was just really just on fire yesterday? One thing also that I did kind of take note of was that Shohei Ohtani looked like a complete fool on one of his curveballs. Now, again, that lefty-lefty matchup, it is a little bit tough, especially for someone with a curveball of that caliber. But this is Shohei Ohtani, man. This is one of the best players that we have ever seen play this game. All things aside, if you're going into this season, if you're going into the next start even with Mitchell Parker thinking that this could be the norm, I wouldn't take it there just yet. But still, as of right now, even accounting from last year when you have Jackson Rutledge, I'd rather see Mitchell Parker right now. I'd rather see Mitchell Parker go out there because, again, this is someone who has an actual track record of success. Even back in 2022, he had an ERA in the mid-2s. He was striking out guys. And again, this is someone who has struck out 11 batters per 9 innings throughout his career down in the minor leagues. You saw in last night's contest, striking out 5 batters and, most importantly, 0 walks. That is kind of what has haunted him over the years here. He's had a lot of walks down in his minor league career, which last year kind of led to an inflated ERA as he walked a lot of people across AA and across AAA Rochester. But still, yesterday he got the job done against one of the more talented teams in all of baseball. You can't help but just kind of look and kind of dream a little bit and say, what could Mitchell Parker be down the road? But still, it wasn't just him. Luis Garcia, CJ Abrams, they both got the job done. But ultimately, Luis Garcia, I think it's starting time to turn the corner for the kid because he's been killing the baseball to start the year. And of course, we'll discuss him. But now we got to tell you guys about some of our sponsors. We'll start you off with our good new friends over at Monopoly Go. And guys, I've been told that I'm a competitive person. And of course, you probably think that's true. Okay, well, yeah, I have a competitive side. We all do. And my competitive side is a big fan of Monopoly Go. I'm sure you've heard of it. It's been downloaded over 150 million times. And it's a great twist on Monopoly where you play on not one, but hundreds of Monopoly boards in crazy locations, building up amazing cities that bring you big money. But the best part is messing with my friends. I can charge them rent on my iconic properties, just like classic Monopoly. But now I can also rob their vaults of riches for myself. But it's not just my competitive side that loves it. You can team up with friends and people all around the world in time tournaments to earn huge rewards. So get in the game and join your friends. Download Monopoly Go now, free on the App Store or Google Play. Again, download Monopoly Go. It's now free on the App Store or Google Play Store. Now let's tell you guys about our friends over at Game Time. And guys, when we talk about Game Time, I try to tell you all the time that this is the people that you want to go to when you are maybe running late to Nationals Park this Friday. I'll be there. When I'll be walking on Half Street and I'll open up Game Time and I'm just 2 clicks away from tickets. Of course, they have killer last minute deals, all in prices and views from your seats, and their lowest prices always guaranteed because Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. And of course, this Friday against the Astros, I'll be going there. Saturday, I'll be there as well. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to open up Game Time. I'm 2 clicks away. As I'm right there before the game, I'll get their flash deal seats because, of course, if you don't know about it, they have last minute tickets, flash deals, and zone deals, and of course, images from your view of the seats. All you have to do is go to Game Time, download Game Time, and of course, I love it so much. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDON MLB for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Now we get back into it as Luis Garcia with the Washington Nationals. Is he starting to turn a corner here? Well, it could be. But of course, it's Locked On's NFL Mock Draft Live on April 17th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, streaming on the Locked On Sports Today 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app. Find the ultimate 6-episode series on April 17th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time to hear who the local Locked On experts are picking for every NFL franchise with live reactions from local college football experts and even the fantasy football angle. The Locked On NFL Mock Draft on April 17th at 7 Eastern Time, streaming live on Locked On Sports Today, 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app. Excuse me. I burped there in the middle of that read, but it's all right. This is a natural podcast, so you'll get natural features of Ryan Clary. Now let's talk about Luis Garcia because we got to talk about just what he has done over the course of this season. Luis Garcia has been wildly impressive for your Washington Nationals. You saw in last night's game, he had one ball kind of in between first base and second base, made a very nice play on it, threw it over to Joey Gallo at first and got the out. Now look at this. When you have Brady House, 2021 first-round pick out of high school, killing the baseball, a top 100 prospect down to the minor leagues, one of the better hitters so far through this 2024 campaign down in AA Harrisburg that consists of Dylan Cruz, Andrew Pinckney, and a couple other guys as well, including Robert Hassel. But now you got this. Imagine this. C.J. Abrams, who's already a proven vet over at shortstop, manning that, or you already know he's going to be your shortstop of the future. And you have Brady House, you would like to think will be your shortstop of the future. And then if you have Luis Garcia, who would, by the way, Luis Garcia, as we sit here today, is still just 24 years old. 23, 24 years old. If Luis Garcia were to pan into something going forward, this would be a huge development for this Nationals team. Because right now, if you look down in the minors, you got the outfield recognition. You got Robert Hassel, Dylan Cruz, James Wood, all these different guys who are going to be coming up who are going to be killing the baseball. But even further than that, you don't really have a long-term solution over at second base, as Trey Lipscomb was sent down yesterday as he's kind of been in a funk to start his major league campaign. But now with Luis Garcia, what if he were to turn the corner here? What would it look like? Because right now, as we sit here today on April 16th, it's safe to say that he's been off to one of his better starts so far of the season, as last night, as he's batting 5th in the lineup, added a home run there. 3 RBIs, of course, on that home run, opposite field, and that's kind of always been his thing. He has opposite field power, as Bob Carpenter pointed that out in the broadcast in last night's game. But what does it mean for this Nationals team, though? Because if you were to get a good Luis Garcia, someone who's still just 23 years old, someone who's 6'2", sitting at 200 plus pounds, someone who has always kind of been knocked around here, including by myself, I thought Luis Garcia was done for. I expected the Nationals to move on from him and have Trey Lipscomb be the opening day second baseman. Ultimately, that wasn't the idea that the Nationals had in store, but still, as we sit here today, I think it's safe to say that you could be kind of counting on Luis Garcia moving forward. He's in the top echelon, he's in the top category as far as second doubles go, as far as second baseman in general with their batting average. His OPS is up to an 878, batting 318 on the season, 8 RBIs, and even got a stolen base in there as well. If Luis Garcia pans out for this Nationals team, this would be one of the bigger developments of 2024 outside of a James Wood breakout, outside of a Mackenzie Gore breakout as well. Garcia, if he's in the middle of your lineup, having that second baseman that who may not be the best defensively, who may be a tad above or tad below average rather at defensive second baseman, if you were to take the offensive numbers, kind of something that he's always kind of been crowned for. We've always said the expecting batting average, the expected slugging, all these different things, and also his strikeout rate, which is still really good. If you were to account all those things and kind of put those into a second baseman, sitting at 23 years old, Luis Garcia could just be hitting his stride up in the major leagues. And what it would mean for this Nationals team? Well, just another domino to fall in which kind of consists of this rebuild. Kind of think back to Ian Desmond. Ian Desmond, it never really clicked for him right away. You saw a lot of promise. You saw a lot of different things you liked over at shortstop, but still, it didn't click right then and there. 2012 was really kind of like his breakout. He was really kind of the guy that you always kind of hoped would break out, but never really did. It never came into fruition, which was also a little bit frustrating, but still, if you get Garcia now to pan out, to play second base every single day, that is just another win in the Nationals rebuild category. Because think of it this way. It's 2025, opening day. Say Luis Garcia breaks out. Let's say he's got an 800 OPS in 2023. Do the Nationals trade him? They maybe could. But still, he's got no options left. He's going to be a major leaguer. And if you're going to move on from him, you're going to have to DFA him. And some team will likely pick him up at this point. So now with this, think of it this way. James Wood is in right field or center field, whichever way you look. Actually, James Wood in right field. Dylan Cruz in center field. Lane Thomas in left field, maybe. And you have shortstop C.J. Abrams. Third base is Brady House. Second base, Luis Garcia. First base, to be determined at this point. Let's say Pete Alonso for the hell of it. Then behind the plate, you have Keibert Ruiz. That team looks a lot better on paper. And especially with all those offensive numbers, guys like Brady House, who have a ton of power, guys like James Wood, who have 70 grade power, this is going to be a different lineup. And again, if you have Garcia pan out right now, there's no better time for him to break out. No better time. Because again, through 14 games right now, his numbers are impressive. Batting over 300, getting on base, not really striking out as much as what he does best, hitting for power, has a 545 slug on the season, which is by far and away his best numbers throughout his major league career. If you get Garcia to pan out, this is going to be the biggest win of the Nationals in 2024 because this is not expected. And again, when you have these rebuilding teams, you kind of need to luck your way into guys like Luis Garcia. And it's not to say Luis Garcia was never some good prospect. He was a good prospect. At one point in time, he was a top 100 prospect entering the 2020 season. And if you look at his numbers, they weren't all too great, but still a lot of evaluators had him as someone who's going to hit for a little bit of power, who's going to get on base, play decently over at shortstop or second base, and now it's starting to come into fruition. But ultimately for this Nationals team, what it would mean for them is that this is going to be a huge win. It's another position you have to kind of knock off. And Trey Lipscomb, ultimately, who I think will be a great utility player for this team, not necessarily a starter down the line, then you have another position that you can fill with him. All these dominoes are kind of starting to fall together, in which hopefully we'll just complete this rebuild in a much more quicker way. So having Garcia, what it would mean? Just another win in the category for the old Washington Nationals. Thank you all for making Locked On Nats your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcast. Next, let's talk about this game tonight, as you have Patrick Corbin on the bump against, to be determined. It's probably going to be a bullpen game if I had to bet. But of course, we'll get you up to speed after we tell you guys about our friends over at LinkedIn Sales Solution. And guys, are you struggling to close deals? B2B selling is tougher than ever, and that's why I want to tell you about LinkedIn Sales Navigator. LinkedIn Sales Navigator is a sales intelligence platform that helps professionals effectively prospect and engage high-value customers, drive higher revenue, and increase sales performance. Sales Navigator helps you target the right buyers, surface key signals such as job changes or widget counts you should prioritize, and shows you hidden allies so you can find those buyers that are most likely to convert. Fueled by LinkedIn's 1 billion member platform, Sales Navigator gives you the most up-to-date first-party data, enabling you to unlock conversations with the people that matter. Right now, you can try LinkedIn Sales Navigator. Get a 60-day free trial at linkedin.com/lockedon. That is linkedin.com/lockedon for a 60-day free trial. Let LinkedIn Sales Navigator help you sell like a superstar today. Just go to linkedin.com/lockedon and get started. Now we get into it as the Nationals try to go for the series win against the Los Angeles Dodgers tonight, which, by the way, how awesome is it to play in Dodger Stadium on Jackie Robinson Day? That was awesome last night, seeing everyone wear number 42. The Nationals and the Dodgers, they shared a moment outside of Jackie Robinson's statue there. Davey Martinez, Coach Roberts, Dave Roberts from Los Angeles Dodgers, all crowded around there with all players from both teams. Gave some nice speeches, supposedly. Andrew Golden of the Washington Post reported on that. I thought that was a very cool thing from both teams. And of course, playing in Dodger Stadium on Jackie Robinson Day is a pretty special moment in baseball. It's just really cool. The spotlight is on you at Dodger Stadium. And of course, Mitchell Parker made the most of it. So I did want to give a little kudos to that. Thought that was a very cool moment. And also, it's kind of funny. They probably wanted the Dodgers to get a win on Jackie Robinson Day. But of course, little old Mitchell Parker came in there. He was a little engine that could and got the win done for the Washington Nationals. But now you do have a tough matchup with Patrick Corbin tonight. This is not going to be a fun one. You're going up against a lot of lefties in which it could go our way maybe. But still, when you have Freddie Freeman and Shohei Ohtani, and those are kind of your two premier lefties on the team, you have Teoscar Hernandez. On the other hand, who's going to be batting from the right-handed side against Patrick Corbin. You don't love it. You don't love it when you're going up against Freddie Freeman. We know him very well, playing against the Atlanta Braves for all those years. He's been the Nationals killer he's been a thorn in our thigh for who knows how long at this moment. But still, you're going up against Patrick Corbin. And as of right now, it's likely going to be a bullpen game for this Dodgers team. That's not really something that you like to see because, again, this is something that the Dodgers have always done well. You talk about teams who do these bullpen games well. It's the Tampa Bay Rays. It's the Los Angeles Dodgers. This is kind of their bread and butter game. They're going to go in there with someone who will probably pitch 2 to 3 innings, and then they're just going to keep going through, and they're going to show that deep bullpen that they have because, again, this is what the Dodgers do best. This is why they've continued to be on the top of the baseball world over the last decade plus because they continue to produce pitching out the you-know-what. This is not going to be a great contest for this Nationals team, I'll tell you right now. But still, what could go right for the Nationals? Last night we saw it. You're going up against Tyler Glasnow, who, by the way, could be kind of those bounce-back candidates, could be even a Cy Young contender at the end of the season just because of how good he is, how good his stuff is. His fastball's back up to 97, 98 miles per hour, in which he's been injured the last few years. But still, the Nationals rocked him around a little bit. You could kind of luck yourself and stub your toe into another win, in which ultimately we get the Nationals back to around 8-9 on the season. The Dodgers would still have 11 wins and 9 losses. That would be something that could be a little intriguing down the line. Now, will the Nationals get it done? I guess we'll just have to see in tonight's game. But, of course, you can catch that game over on Masson. And, of course, 106.7 The Fan. That's where you will find it. 10-10 first pitch tonight. We'll see what Patrick Corbin can do. Thank you guys for making Locked On Nats your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcast. It's allergy season. So, of course, keep on taking your allergy meds as I am battling through it right now. I'm sure you guys understand it. Of course, I'll catch you on the other side. Go Nats. Get this win.